Hey there people, this is Wake Up. I'm going to do a quick review now on a film that I find to be one of the best that I have ever seen. Okay, certainly in its category anyway. The category being the best Hitman film that's ever been made, by far. The film's called Leon. It was directed by Luc Besson and it was made 16 years ago, which is hard to believe and actually quite shocking, as its deterioration of these types of films since then has just been plummeting. This film it oozes quality. It's got Natalie Portman, and when she was 13 years old, as Matilda, and Jean Reno, who's playing Leon, the hitman. And bear in mind, this hitman's got like a mental age of like 14-year-old, which is why the relationship between Jean Reno, Leon, and Matilda works so well. If it was any other bloke, I would almost be practically certain that he would have taken advantage of her. But because Leon's quite, to coin a phrase, slow, then it works. You don't feel intimidated. It doesn't feel awkward. It doesn't feel wrong. Not that I'm all for oh god, what is it, underage relationships and what have you, because I'm completely against that, which is why I was actually quite shocked that I thought this thing worked. I'm saying that these two are friendships. It's like a really close, solid friendship. This thing also stars Gary Oldman as this guy, Gary Oldman, is one of the most phenomenal actors out there. I mean, he plays this crooked cop, and I've never been so fucking terrified every time he was on the screen. Sorry about my language. But just, he really brings the character alive, and there's not much there for him to work with, per se, if you will. But he's probably in the film. He's as effective in this film as Heath Ledger was as the Joker. Reason being, if you count up all the screen time he gets, he's probably something like 20 minutes, just like the Joker got in Dark Knight. And his performance leaves an imprint in your mind. You know, his performance is absolutely phenomenal. The reason I said Leon's one of the best, if not the best, Hitman film ever made, is because all the way through it, Leon never changes. He is still this hard-edged assassin type, and he cannot communicate. He cannot work in the real world. He can't form normal relationships. Like when you see him like getting in a taxi, or like going, like the little things like going into a hotel and trying to get a room. He can't do it. He just seems, he's so disconnected, you know. And he does it better than Christian Bale did in American Psycho. Like American Psycho, like people know my thoughts on that. I don't rate it as much as this film. In fact, it's below par for me. But as far as Leon goes, this film, the unable to form like connections with society, and unable to function, like he can't read, and that's what Matilda teaches him. And I don't really want to go into too much spoilers, but you just need to see this thing. And there's still a consistency. His character doesn't change. Whereas if you watch new films like Hitman, it's about a hard, cold-blooded assassin, and then halfway through the film, he suddenly falls in love. And I'm sorry, that doesn't happen. You cannot get a cold-blooded assassin suddenly get feelings. You know, it doesn't work like that, not at all. Whereas just with Leon, it seems within the realms of possibility. You know, and just Natalie Portman's performance in this, and she's 13 years old, is Oscar worthy. You know. Oh, sorry. I know I've been saying Leon. In America, it's known as the Professional. I do apologise about that. For those of you in America wondering what the fuck I was going on about. But yeah, it's just Natalie Portman in this thing's 13 years old, the girl playing Matilda, and it's an Oscar-worthy performance. Like I'm not really a big child actor fan. I think none of them can act, you know, apart from those that are in The Wire. They grin too much, you know. They're always just bad, you know, and it really takes you out of the movie sometimes. I mean, there have been a few, but they're far and few between. Like the kid out of Sixth Sense, and also I go so far as to say the kid out of Mercury Horizon, who plays the child with with autism. Sorry about that. But yeah, this thing and is just very, very good. You know, I'd definitely rate it. I'd probably give it like an 8 or 9 out of 10, which is high for me anyway. But just I can't understand why films like this aren't being made anymore. You know, and I think a lot of that there's one scene in this, right, which was cut in the professional, in the American edition, which is where Leon basically buys Matilda a dress, and then after he saves her, she wears it for him and cooks him dinner, which is extremely awkward. You know, it feels extremely awkward, and you're just wondering where's this going? And so does Leon, because she says, Natalie Portman's character Matilda says some very, not intimidating, but some very worrying things for a girl that age to be saying, you know, and it's a really you feel for the guy, because she's saying, you know what, a woman's first time sexually determines the rest of her life and what have you, and that's a really, really bold, bloody statement to say for a girl that young, you know, and it's just kind of disconcerting. But what you need to bear in mind, people, is Luke Besson got married and met his wife when she was 14 and he was over 18, and but it's not frowned upon in France. Like that's not an odd type of thing to happen. Not in England it is. In England it's a very strange thing, but not in France. And that's why the story of Leon kind of works that way, because you can tell that these two people, that Leon and Matilda, will probably spend, even though Leon's really, really old, you know, Leon, you can tell that this is actually like a full-blown relationship, an adult relationship, you know, even despite the fact that she's only 13. Okay, which is, just imagine, have you ever seen a film that's come out with that much depth to it today? It wouldn't get made, because it would get scoffed and laughed at, which is what happened in America. It got laughed at, and that's why they deleted it. But it's an extremely powerful scene, and you get Leon basically breaking down, and he tells Matilda just some things which are just really heartbreaking, you know, which explains why he hasn't been in a relationship. But it's definitely worth a watch. I cannot rate this film nearly high enough. Like, personally, I hold it in the same regards as I hold Predator, and it's just a phenomenal film. And there were this film has been ripped off on so many times. Like, for example, Leon wears this massive long overcoat, and then when he takes off at the beginning, he's got all these guns set up, which was completely stolen later on by Neo and then the Matrix and the Wachowski brothers. That scene was stolen. And just the way Leon teaches Matilda to become a cleaner, a hitman, or a hit lady, if you will, is just extremely good. And the things that he says, you know, he's been in it for an extremely long time and he knows his stuff. Like, for example, he says, as a beginner you will learn to the way you kill them will be furthest away, and as you become more and more expert in it, you'll get closer and closer, eventually ending up with the knife. But in order to have the knife, you need to be a professional. That's the name of the film in America. I definitely rate getting the director's cut, getting your hands on it, even on eBay. It's definitely worth buying, because this is quality at its best. That's about it, lads. The site www.talkthatworld.net, the forum for the real fan. Bay out, and 8 weeks till Expendables, people. 8-9 weeks. Say 8.5. Peace.
Are you crazy? Gonna kill me? You're welcome. Every one of us is expendable. Yeah, bro.
Fucking awesome.
Oh my god.
How cool is that?
So many good actors in there.
I know.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be fucking sweet.
That's gonna be quite good, isn't it?